with video and everything, so it's just
Wicked.
straight out.
I'm good for sound, right?
Yeah, we'll be
Sweet. All right, that's
Right.
We're running.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, hello and welcome to All I Do Is Fail. I'm your host, Tom Elwes. I'm joined today, as ever, by my co-host, Mr. Ali Woods.
Thank you very much, Tom. How are you doing today? Are you okay?
I'm good.
Classic banter.
Yeah. all the way. Yeah. It's the bright lights. This is the first time under the bright lights. I'm panicking.
Listeners won't know, but we're in a new studio today, and it is that perfect mix of kind of wicked, awesome, very expensive equipment, and also
derelict.
in a shithole.
Yeah.
It is perfect. Derelict chic.
Yeah, derelict chic.
Derelict chic.
And we're honoured today to be joined by the fantastic comedian, Mr. Dane Baptiste.
Oh, thank you very much. And you're not honoured, man. I'm happy to be here as well. It's,
Okay.
So you got to know about
the
that.
humble thing.
It's of a mutual benefit, man.
So Dane slash our manager, apparently. Well, don't be honoured, for goodness sake.
No, exactly. Yeah, you guys believe in yourself.
We're honoured that your calendar allowed it, Dane, because
Yeah.
you're very busy at the moment.
I do endeavour to stay as busy as possible, man. But no, I'm glad that I could finally make it. So thank you very much for having me on the pod. Shout out to Mooch as well, because I'm familiar with the derelict chic ambience of this room.
Yeah, thank you
It's a
very
good
much,
room.
Mooch. Right, we're going to move on to our first segment, as we always do, which is the news, which we normally have a jingle for, but in this way, we'll just imagine there was a jingle and we all enjoyed it.
So that in post-production.
Yeah. All right, the first segment of our failed news stories is the Bird Box Challenge, okay? And this is, have we seen Bird Box?
I'm fully aware of it, but I haven't watched it.
Okay.
Have you watched it, Tom?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've
what do you think
got
of it?
so many issues with it.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Oh, yeah. Well, first
Just
of all,
top issue then.
top issue, they're meant to be living blindfolded and like foraging for food for 5 years, yet the main guy in that is absolutely
He's stacked, isn't he, the whole time? He's ripped the whole time
Well,
day one.
What's he been,
5 years
what's he
later.
been foraging for? Protein shakes.
What is
I'm
he-
not
what
like.
is he living?
Is he whacking on that blindfold and going down the gym?
His
Like,
nipples take your eye out, not even the
man.
bloody monsters, man. He is stacked.
I've got a lot of issues, and like, all right. Bit of a disclaimer here. I have been writing a bit on this, but all right,
Dane, just to catch you up, listeners will know. Classic All I Do Is Fail is Tom starts doing a bit that he's been writing on just to gauge the reaction, pretending he's really embarrassed. I'm really annoyed that I have to bring this up.
Hey,
But anyway, here's my
best
2
time.
minutes.
Okay.
Best time
All
to
right,
work on.
so have you heard about A Quiet Place as well?
Yes, I
so
have, yeah.
So like all these like
that's the other version. Of
yeah,
it.
so no, you can't. They're basically deaf, and Bird Box, they're blind, right?
Yeah.
So like these dystopian horror futures where like you lose the sense, right? I'm going next level up, third film installment. I'm calling it a bland taste. Okay,
Yeah, nice.
You eat anything good, right? You're just eating chicken kormas and like lemon and herb from Nando's. Okay,
Yeah.
anything good, you're dying straight away.
Maybe we're already there, Tom, with this rise in nationalism,
Yeah.
trying to get rid of immigration and their influences, aka like spices and stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to return back to a bland palate.
Dane is that critic. Or that A-level English student who writes the beautiful meaning inside something which was a very black.
Exactly.
Oh, Elwes just meant that.
I just meant in my film it would just be like me and Paris Hilton eating mayonnaise and chicken at the end. That's where I was going.
Is Paris Hilton bland, do you think?
I just couldn't think of anyone more bland.
She's pretty basic.
Yeah, like
she's
more
basic.
basic.
She
kind of.
typifies
You can't even
being
show
basic.
charisma. You can't show taste in clothes either.
No.
Yeah.
So everything's beige.
Yeah. Just bland. A bland taste. Yeah, I didn't even think. Oh, you weren't meant to. I was talking about the taste, but there we go.
Don't worry, mate. Just give me half
It's
of all your
Instagram
earnings.
ruin
It's
it.
cool.
Oh, that's it. Like, all right. Well, we've learned some things. Anyway, kids in America are doing the Bird Box Challenge, which is basically there's a scene in the film where they put on a blindfold and they drive their car. And a teenager in America did this and obviously smashed his car to shit.
Yeah.
What is
That's the state of the world, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
Anything for views and likes.
Did he survive the crash?
Yeah, he survived. He survived, but he just,
Okay. Well, yeah.
ruined his car and smashed it to a million pieces. But I just think it's just a comment on like kids will do anything for the views and likes now. It doesn't matter. We were talking just before we came on about views doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what that views is. He would have got millions of views because he smashed his car up.
Yeah, and yet we produce great quality podcasts every week. But we do it with our eyes open and get nothing.
Here's the thing, but that's the thing, Ali, is that we now live in a social climate where everything, your self-worth is measured quantitatively instead of qualitatively. So it's not a question of if you have a good podcast, it's just how many people can see the podcast. So it's like with kids now, it's like their actions, they can be morally objectionable, they can be positive or negative. They don't give a shit. It's how many people see it. Right. That's all that matters. This is the times we're in now. So like nowadays, you don't care if something like a song can be shit, but because a lot of people have seen a shitty song, then it becomes validated. So no one's really focused on making something that's good. It's just if
Lots of people can see it.
Lots of people can see it.
What a depressing world.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So you're not doing the Bird Box challenge anytime
Yeah.
soon?
No, I don't really do any challenges. But then I have a weird snobbery in that, like, the more...
You're above the challenges.
But
Yeah,
you're
challenges-
above. I'm sorry to say this, guys,
Well,
but
yeah,
I'm above
but
blindfolding
yeah,
myself
yeah,
and
exactly.
driving a
My
car.
God,
yeah.
I know that's going to
Yeah.
lose me a lot of
Next time
fans.
he telling us he didn't do the fire challenge either. I don't know if you
None
guys
of
saw
it.
that.
Surely
The
you
more,
had a
the, more
tide
people,
capsule.
the more people enjoy something, or more people get on board with it, and the more the mob gets interested in something, I become a bit more suspicious of it.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, I used to like Game of Thrones when not a lot of people watched it, and then
Right.
when loads of people started getting into it and like going on about, like, you know, the gratuitous rape and nudity, then I was like, I'm probably gonna leave Game of Thrones for a bit, just so I don't have to have conversations about
So,
it.
but this is different. This is different to I like my band until they get famous kind of approach.
Yeah.
Is it, or is it just like
I feel like
don't
it's a little-
I mean, I
don't
want
like being with the
a band to be
majority?
famous. I mean, but then even then, it depends if they move away from their sound. But I understand that obviously the sound has to change. But I suppose, I guess I don't really like bands that become mega popular anyway. Because, like, for example, like, I don't understand why people like U2.
Yeah.
I've never...
I understand
I
why
think-
people
I think-
understood 80s U2.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah,
I
80s
can
yeah.
understand Joshua Tree U2.
Yeah.
I can't understand Vertigo, Bono Shades
Yeah.
wearing U2.
That's it. Yeah, but it's even like, but I same for Madonna. I like up until like Ray of Light, and then I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really get this much.
Yeah, that's a tipping point. with a lot
Well,
of them.
sorry to say the same, but we've actually got U2 and Madonna coming in.
yeah.
Sorry.
Pay your taxes. Pay your taxes.
It's not
But yeah,
fair
but
enough.
I think we miss out on some of the. Obviously, those artists have kind of like we've missed out on their best years.
When they were more experimental,
yeah.
and they were just.
I mean,
But
do you
that's
worry
it
though?
with-
Do you worry though that as a comedian you'll get popular because you'll believe that your work is getting better and better, and you're seeing more people, and then there will be the people who liked your stuff and going, "Nah, Dane's not for me anymore."
Yeah, I think that happens anyway. I think that's part of just almost like the creative life cycle, is that, you know, you appear to be a lot more nuanced, and I think the more that you attract more of a following or more, acclaim for your work, then what you find is that a lot of people will begin, or the art form you're in will begin to kind of shift towards representing what you're like, which is why I guess it becomes a lot more of a popular sound. So I feel like everyone's at that point where they are very hot, and it's like the Warhol 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But then I think as long as you don't fail to serve your initial audience, and you maybe still make stuff that, or have a sensibility that still appeals to them, then you can always go back to that. Because I think that you'll reach the apex of your kind of commercial acclaim, and then you'll go back to being nuanced and stuff anyway. Because I feel like with pop artists, for example, we look at some of the bigger pop artists now, and you feel like these heights have never been reached before. But like years and 20 and 30 years ago, there's been the same level of hysteria for the same people that you don't even hear about anymore. So like, I feel like I'd like to be in a position of somebody like a Bon Jovi, whereby I'm not in the charts on a weekly or monthly basis, maybe on an annual basis, but when they do a concert, it sells out still.
Do you think
That was not the artist I thought you were going to
Yeah,
say. What I'd really love to be is Bon Jovi.
killing it at weddings still.
Yeah, smashing it, yeah.
I get where you're coming from.
Would you ever take let's say you hit that you know, you're a very popular comic as it is in this country, but like if you really, you know, smashed it out there and you became like globally successful,
Yeah.
do you think you'd take a left turn and make that experimental album? Just would you just jack it all in and, like, you know, just do a bit of, like, I don't know, like mime comedy or something mental?
I think if it was for me to make, if I found it funny and I found it fulfilling, then yeah, I would. Because I just think, yeah, there's trying to hold on to the fame is probably, that's the biggest mistake you can make.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
You can always take creative risks, like when Snoop Dogg did the whole
Snoop Live,
sensual seduction, and he tried to do a bunch of different sounds and stuff before returning to his sound. But I think, yeah, you can take risks. I think that's the idea of it anyway, because I just think that it's just all artists, when you are transcending into show business, be aware that it's all going to be temporary, and when you become the brand, then you have that saturation point where, because if you're doing really well and you're amazing, then everyone's going to try and sound like you anyway, and it becomes a lot harder for there to be a distinction. So you have to constantly reinvent as it is. But there's always going to be a decline of some form, whereby, you know, either your audience gets older and they either move on or they pass away, or there's a younger audience who don't have the same connection with you. So I'd rather just ride that wave and maintain who I am and maintain that core audience, and just age gracefully with it. So
Cool.
Fair.
yeah.
All right.
More success over fame is my point, I guess.
Yeah.
Success over fame.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as long as the phone's still ringing and I don't have to like I said, go and like eat a kangaroo's balls.
Is that how bad things might get?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
It does
You
happen.
had that cool,
It
yeah.
happens, yeah.
I passed that shop down on the way here.
I was offered like Britain's Got Talent and stuff.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't say yes to that. Not that I'm judging anybody, but you just don't want your success to hinge upon that.
Yeah,
So I always think about like, I always think about like, if I'm in like Sainsbury's, in an island Sainsbury's, like, what do I want someone to shout at me? Like, you know, people are like, oh, that's Dane.
You're going to say, I'm in Sainsbury's and I'm looking at the kangaroos Tesco. And do I have to buy this?
Yeah,
like, that's how bad my life's gone.
I'm going to eat it, put it on YouTube, and I'm going to
looking at the chicken on the other aisle and the beef.
With an effective marketing campaign, I'm very sure you could get people to start eating kangaroo balls.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in the 80s and 90s and stuff, and I don't remember anyone caring about kale. But with an effective marketing campaign, all of a sudden,
we'll look
like
at the vegan
next
sausage roll. That's literally designed to piss people off and cause a stir.
Yeah,
people
cause
to write
stir.
about it.
But at the same time, vegans will eat shit. But even veganism is like, it's always been around, but now it's just become a lot more sensationalized. But at the same time, it's like, vegans, be honest with yourselves. Like, I know you think you're living really naturally, but in order for one cafe to have access to like over 100 avocados on a daily basis, like something inorganic must be taking place.
Yeah, of course.
They're not even native to this country.
Well,
so.
it's like what was it? If you want to make what's the milk that they drink that's not almond, but
soy,
the one
soy milk.
Yeah. Like the damage to the environment because the electricity, the quantity of electricity used to make soy milk is insane. Like it's just like terrible.
That's why I'm not vegan. I've decided now.
Exactly.
No, I've always thought that. I agree. The electricity and the other things.
Especially after Christmas, you got the lights up, energy prices.
Exactly. Up to kangaroos and everything. It's all involved, really, for me.
Right, we're going to move on to our second failed news story of the week, and this is a man denies turning his house into a restaurant despite, this is in Norwich, despite having a giant sign above his house saying Orlando's, that would just clearly be a restaurant.
Because he didn't have the license, I assume.
Maybe I can impose it, but he's put that above his house.
It's for commercial
for commercial appeal. A chancer, or just do we blame him, or is it?
No, he's a chance to give it a go, mate.
Yeah.
Give it a go. Find the loophole.
I like that. Deniability.
Find the way.
Was the guy called something Orlando?
Yeah, his name was It's just called Orlando.
I was just wondering whether
he's not got a random name above his house. He's just been
it was just like a bloke from Norwich. He was like, you know the way they call it Fernando's on Take Me Out, where they just give it some random Mediterranean name and suddenly it becomes glamorous.
Isn't that somewhere in Greece, Fernando's or something?
Fernando's.
Yeah, I don't know. There's another thing that we all got asked to do. Take Me Out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be truly awful.
You
can only just imagine going out there and just doing a bit of stand up and then just all those red lights. Just
You know someone did an open mic comics. Not a famous name, unfortunately, but I'll tell you afterwards. But they have a bit about it. But yeah, pretty much.
Just getting up there. Oh, God.
Because no one's.
That's never the environment. You just want it's also like Paddy McGuinness being like, oh.
Well, yeah, exactly. So
Paddy McGuinness
having to compete with Paddy.
Having Paddy McGuinness to say you're not funny.
Yeah.
That's a bit of pill.
Yeah. Exactly. But even then you'd be like, but Paddy, come on, man, you wouldn't say that. You know how that feels yourself, bro. My experience with Paddy McGuinness, he seems like a nice guy. And it's all subjective. But like you said, having another comedian be like, next time, buddy. Fuck you, Paddy!
Paddy, you get out there and do some stand-up. I know you've got written lines, man. All that biscuit shit.
And my friends are taking care of you, Paddy. I know. Comedy won't work on Take Me Out.
No, definitely not.
But like, when you've got like 30 women lined up already, I think they're kind of tired of the jokes.
Yeah.
They're over jokes. So
yeah, don't want that. I think it's going to be. Although someone said, in I think it's China, it's the other way around to Take Me Out, and it's a girl comes down the lift and it's just like all dudes. Yeah,
okay, that's cool. That's how cool. Quality.
I don't think that would work in Britain. I just don't think anyone like just be loads of dudes just never turning their lights out. Just being like, nah, man, see where we go.
One guy turns it off. He's gay. He must be gay. I'm really into her.
Why isn't there a gay Take Me Out?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
maybe that's how they could have the panel of the men.
I do think that though, Take Me Out is there right for kind of that modernization of like it. In some way, it needs to do different versions. But I think at the moment, its audience is very much kind of the kind of Middle England heteronormative.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
I'm
think
not gonna be
no one's
alright with
complaining.
trans
Yeah.
take me out. Just
Yeah,
Exactly.
just take a while. Let's take a
Yeah.
while.
I mean,
Do you want to go on this? Let's not go down that route. You don't know what you're going on day with.
That's another bit you're working on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to really fly in Edinburgh. My trans take me
Like
out
the
there.
Bird Box stuff now for something a
Right,
little bit
personally,
different.
Tom, I say risk it.
Yeah.
Personally,
Yeah.
why
Take that
not?
pill.
Why not have everyone all together? I guess trans women, cisgender women,
Yeah.
gays, all together. Basically, make it into a big old orgy.
Yeah. Still 7 p.m. ITV1 though.
Oh yeah. That's not fuck with the
No,
schedule.
yeah,
That's,
exactly,
that's,
yeah.
that's the sweet spot.
Paddy's got to go at 9, so you can't.
You want to hear
can't
Paddy's lines about going off to Fernando's with a trans? They wouldn't even be able to call it Fernando's anymore. We have to be a more like gender like central name.
No, off to the SDI clinic. Let's get you all checked out.
Oh no, you went.
That would be that, man. 30 people got this fluids
I
chairing.
think it'd be good. I think take me out with a diverse cast of people with varying gender and sexual orientation would definitely work. I
Bit more free-flowing.
But I think maybe not. Yeah, that sweet spot of 7 o'clock on ITV may not necessarily work.
Yeah.
I guess that's more of a
I mean, if
YouTube thing. YouTube Red?
YouTube.
RedTube. No,
Yeah,
YouTube. I said
yeah.
YouTube Red. I meant RedTube.
Wherever naked attractions on,
Yeah.
it can do
Yeah.
that prime to that time.
It's weird how much people want to watch any kind of date. I saw on Channel 4 they're doing flirty dancing, where you learn a dance routine separately and you come together and dance. And if you like each other, you go on a proper date. Like just any level, like first dates. Like people just like to watch other people have dates. It's kind of a weird thing, isn't it?
Weirdly voyeuristic. The thing is, like, now that they're doing flirty dancing, it just means that like we are now any aspect of the courtship ritual is now being suggested to us by the TV. It's like, guys, just fucking interact. That's how you learn this stuff. Like, the first time I danced with a girl, I was fucking shitting myself, and scared and terrible. But you learn. Like, you don't watch TV for all this stuff. You have to have these experiences in real time. But I feel it's a problem. Really.
Kids don't think about that. Kids think about. I saw a great interview with Bo Burnham talking about his film 8th Grade, which is like, if you haven't seen it, it's like the best insight into teenage kids you've ever seen. Like,
Is it out now?
Yeah, it's out now, and it was literally like it was like incredible. But he said like the thing that was the most weird about kids now is they think about how other people will view every moment that they're in because they film every moment. If anything good or funny happens or anything, like I remember being around my mum's godson, it's like 14, like. He just thinks constantly about how people will view it, and that's clearly going to change behaviours of young people if you're constantly thinking about it. Like that can't be.
That's the entire complex because that's the thing is that they've grown up in an environment whereby you like I said, you can't quantify an action unless it's recorded. That's just the life they've come up with, and it's kind of Orwellian. But instead of obviously wearing that Big Brother's watching you, we just offer up our experience all the time to the eye. So it's like, we're all watching each other. So it's crazy.
Bloody attention seekers, not like us comics, just
Just
doing it in our own rooms, not trying to draw attention to ourselves. We won't go near the stuff.
we do it live though.
What's wrong with kids nowadays?
We're doing it live in front of us.
Look at my career, you would suggest that is my thing.
It is weird. Like everyone's a performer now, and we all live in like we have the biggest reality show going. It's
completely. It's I say this, and I always get quizzical looks, but it's do you know in The Incredibles?
Yeah.
The film when Syndrome says that he's gonna because he resents super, so he never had any powers.
Yeah.
But he had all the gadgets and stuff. But Incredible said you're not a super and you never will be. So he's like getting his revenge, and he's like, I'm gonna sell weapons to both sides, and so everyone can be super, then no one will be.
Yeah, that's
the thing, and that's the time we're in now. It's a
philosophical. I've forgotten.
Yeah.
You know who it is? That is a philosopher came up with that thing of. For people to be extraordinary, there needs to be an average. There needs to be a kind of side of things, and you can't have that.
And that's being eroded slowly. Where we've now remember, celebrity used to be a byproduct of people recognizing and validating your talent, and then becoming successful as a result of which, and that's where you realize celebrity. And then, turn of the century, when you started seeing like your Nicole Richies and your Paris Hiltons, we distilled the act of celebrity from talent and being a creative or being an artist. So now you can become famous just because. Yeah,
the best examples are like people going on Celebrity Big Brother because they were on another reality show when they weren't someone. But now they're a celebrity for being on a reality show, so they get to go on a reality show.
Exactly, yes. And that's a circuit now. Because even like, because like I think Scarlett Moffat was in Big Brother, but then she started off, she was in Jungle, but before that she was
on Gogglebox.
But before she was on Gogglebox, she was on another show called on MTV about people that worked in a salon.
Oh, right.
Oh, really?
So there's like a whole circuit. So it's like they start off on X on the Beach, they go Geordie Shore to X on the Beach to then do like I'm a Celebrity, and then they do Big Brother, and then you buy a Range Rover Vogue.
Yeah.
And that's it, and you've completed it.
Pretty much. Range Rover Vogue and a Chihuahua.
How do you feel about people making the cut back into stand-up? Like, there's been quite a few people now. Like, there's a guy from Made in Chelsea who's trying to get on the circuit. And
Jamie Lang?
No, not Jamie Lang.
Another guy.
Yeah, who's the guy with the guy with the glasses?
Tom, don't pretend you don't know.
No, I forgot his name. Not Mark. Gingy dude with the glasses.
I don't know. Yeah. No, because he looks like my mate.
I've seen him down. I've seen him around. Like, there's a few.
You are killing him right now. When he listens to this and he realizes we don't know his name, he's gonna
go. Don't go to Chelsea, mate.
Yeah, you better be careful.
Yeah. Mark. I don't want to plug it, but I did actually get asked to go on that show. So
Mooch chipping in with Mark Francis. Thank you very much. He's doing stand up then.
Yeah, he's doing stand up. So how do you feel about like making the cut back?
Also,
I guess if you're funny, it doesn't matter.
If you're funny, it doesn't matter.
Is it someone from I'm a Celeb or something has sold out shows?
Yeah. But she was a comedy actress.
She was okay.
The girl who came second in I'm a Celebrity this year was in the In-Betweeners. She's like going on tour.
That's her, yes.
Emily Attack. Right?
Yeah. But I guess she was a comedy actress. She's got a bit of something.
And this is the thing is like, on the one hand you just think it's selling out, but then it's just like from what moral standpoint, because it's not like we never necessarily have an industry that recognizes your talent meritocratically anyway. So it's like you said, if she can raise her profile and then go back to have a skill that she honed in the first place, then it's like...
also, let's face it, 90% of being a successful stand-up is people knowing your name. Like,
basically,
that's it. Let's not pretend it's anything more than that.
Exactly,
like, you are a success if people know your name. Like,
exactly, yeah. And it's crazy. I mean, and you can build on that and by actually having good material and being a good comic. But like I said, having your profile is it's just a big part of the whole matrix of being in the fucking industry now. Yeah. So.
Right, guys. That was the end of the news.
See, we have a jingle now.
Bit of a jingle, makeshift jingle. Right, yeah. So next bit we'll just start this fail of your life. So yeah. Cool.
So there were 2 fails of my life I was supposed to come up with.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool. All right, guys. Well, if I do edit it, welcome back. We're now going to move on to fail of your life with Dane. Dane, take it away. The floor is yours.
Cool. Which is a very good pun, by the way.
Thank you.
Every week.
Yes.
It's a very good pun.
They always get it.
I like
caught on a guard.
I like it. So I thought of 2. I'll do the first one, which is this one's a bit shorter than the other one. So the first one is I failed to make my first love work, I feel.
Okay.
That's
a good word.
Sorry, this is the shorter one.
Terrible. The second one, he was actually about going...
I was eating this burrito, right?
And there is beans.
I'll tell you what, there's the rice. And it's actually with my ex who I talked about. But anyway, I don't know.
No, yeah, because I think my first, I guess, long-term relationship didn't really happen until I graduated from uni. Okay. So it was quite late, I think.
Late bloomer.
So kind of a late bloomer, yeah. And I say I failed because like...
What kind of a guy were you at uni?
Just take it.
Just like a chill guy.
Yeah, a lot more chilled guy, where relationship stuff comes out. And also I went to uni in Yorkshire, so I went to Bradford Uni.
Okay.
So I always kind of had the idea where it's like, I'm not going to try and pursue something that's not really going to... Because when uni's done, I'm going back to London.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing. I
must
stay in Bradford.
Got good IMAX there, though.
Yeah, a great IMAX,
Bradford.
That's the only thing. I went there, IMAX left straight away.
Good IMAX, like Akbar's a great curry house, and it was a nice shisha place.
Yeah.
But that's not enough. And again, I can't work in any of those places because they're all family based apart from IMAX. So I was going to come out to London. But it was just, I just feel like I made a lot of, I guess in retrospect, you make a lot of school barriers, which everybody does with your first love anyway. But yeah, I was always somebody that always would try and get things the first time. Like when I was a kid and I did karate and I went for a black belt grade and I was like, I'm getting this the first time. Did that. Going to pass my driving test for the first time. Did that. Like going to do well in school. So for me, it was always like, I take a while sometimes to approach stuff, but I try and get it right the first time round.
But I get love is hard because there's another person.
Exactly.
It's not on you. It's not just on you. That's what perfectionists can
exactly.
suffer.
And that's why I failed. Is that it was learning that like you can, even if you do try and present the best version of yourself, you can't control the will of another person, and you shouldn't endeavor to do that in the first place. And that was part of it. I was like, I would let her be whoever she wants. She can, like, I've never imagined telling her where she can't go. But by the same token, the biggest failure I guess was like not focusing on what I wanted for myself.
Right.
Because and I guess everyone does that, is that like you, obviously you're both supposed to serve a relationship, but my kind of thing was like, if I make myself to be the perfect boyfriend, then how would she ever? But the thing is, the human condition is like, if you're giving everything to somebody, then that becomes normalized. So if they can just take, then why would they stop taking?
Yeah.
Because so my whole thing was like, oh, if we go to this nice restaurant and then I want to go with my friends next week, then she'll know we went to a restaurant last week. But I've already built her up on this level whereby anytime she's away from me, it's going to be an issue. So it's like, I'd be like, she can go with her friends because I know when I want to go with my friends, she'll be fine with it. Mistake.
Negotiations.
She's like, why are your friends? Why can't I go all the time? So we just go on and like, yeah. And so then I started becoming more resentful and stuff like that as well. And yeah, so it starts becoming a lot more toxic because I'm just like, I fucking hate being around this person now.
Yeah.
And then you end up looking for outlets where you're like, try and recreate that with speaking to another girl, and like, even if it's not like a sexual relationship, just having like, because with women a lot of the time, they'd be much more pissed off about you having a emotional connection with somebody than having a one night stand.
Yeah,
this is I agree. This is what findings of my research as well. We have very similar hypotheses. Exactly. I'm wearing my glasses now. Listeners. I just can't believe, but that is the thing that I never heard of that term until I went to uni and I lived with women for the first time, apart from my mum and my sister, who my family very closed off emotionally.
Mine too.
Who knew we were desperate for attention? But that they were saying, like, they were having this big discussion of what's worth cheating on, like, physically or emotionally cheating. I was like, emotionally cheating? Don't you mean just like emotion? She's like, no. Your emotions are just for your partner. I was like, I don't get it. But like, surely interactions, and the point being, like, if you just fuck a girl, then okay, it's just a man biology thing. But like, male emotions are very specific to the person. You can't. I don't get it. I don't.
I guess it's hard. I guess for the masculine to understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, because obviously the feminine hemisphere is obviously geared towards that intimacy. Yeah. And if you observe that intimacy, or they think you observe that with somebody else, then women can become very resentful.
But that's the thing as well, because I think, I mean, again, I'm obviously going on a limb because I'm only seeing the male side of it. But the women as well, I've seen another trait, which is quick to judge the other women for their boyfriend cheating on them, like as in that woman tries to enjoy them. Because when it comes to sex, women get to decide.
Yeah.
Generally, that's basically often how it happens. So they're like, why did you decide to have sex with my boyfriend? Obviously, my boyfriend wants to have sex with everyone. Like, you know, with that kind of mentality. I'm like, what?
I can't stop him. He's a dog. Yeah. But isn't it weird? Equally, the flip of that is that I would so much rather if I had girlfriends, or whatever, like they'd be just hanging out with some guy. I was like, what? You're not slept with him? Like, what have you done? Like, I don't know.
She can have the friend zone dude all the time.
Take the burden. Fantastic.
Yeah. Sweet.
Take her off my hands, mate. That's all right. Go on.
This is being recorded from a white van. If you're interested. That's what I meant by the very good microphones, though. Very good.
We're actually shouting very progressive stuff out the window as we go there.
Paper of the Guardian.
Close that gender pay gap. That's what we're shouting at women.
Screaming it, mate. Screaming at the window. But
so how long did you go out with it?
So we were together for like 3 years.
And, so the whole of uni was you?
Oh no, I did. We kind of started
after
seeing each other.
My apologies. Bradford was a red.
So Bradford was 3 years, and then I kind of started seeing when we started seeing each other like towards my final year of uni.
And you think you started taking her to nice? I feel like when you first started to date someone now, like you want to start low and then get higher. Don't that first Christmas. Don't go.
Yeah, don't go
start
straight.
high.
Yeah, exactly.
Just start low and slowly build.
Completely agree.
If you start going to nice restaurants straight away,
you're done.
You basically want to like go on a date to like McDonald's or like something just really bad, and then just slowly, steady.
Exactly.
Exactly. My existence.
Charge me to go on. Set a precedent.
If attendance is going to be a bonus.
Exactly. Treat them mean. But
you know how you really.
Exactly. But I mean, people still do that. But for me, I guess. But even then, looking back, like what I would have considered a nice restaurant then isn't necessarily one I consider a nice restaurant now. But it was just more stuff. But then saying that, it was stuff like so there was like 2 years between us. So when I was kind of graduating, she was kind of starting uni.
Right.
So obviously now she's having a student life and she's hard up with money and stuff. So I'm like, well, I want you to have everything I didn't have when I was at uni and I never had a lot of money. Now now I've got a 9 to 5. I can provide for you. So then they'd be like, oh, second Christmas in and buying Chanel shoes. Like, you fucking
that's big.
And you don't want those, do you, Dane?
Exactly. So I'm started by stuff like buy her Chanel shoes because I'm like, I never was able to have nice things when I was in uni, but you're my girlfriend, so you can do that.
And it's a nice thing as well to have that because I've had that before. When you have more than a
exactly.
partner.
And I definitely haven't lost that, but it was more of a question like that also should come with context, whereby that's done because you want to, not because of obligation to continue to build on these tokens of affection and stuff.
Because there's obviously a limit to where we can go.
There is a limit, yeah. But same with Christmas and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a limit to how much you can give somebody, and I think it was, not that we didn't have a connection, but it was just my biggest failure with the whole thing, because over the last years and because I saw her recently, and I hadn't seen her in like almost a decade. Wow. And after we broke up and stuff, and I was very receptive, and I was like, because I remember like a lot of stuff she said when we broke up was not very nice, and I'd be like, I'm gonna make
things were said that you could never go back.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm gonna make you fucking eat those words one day. You watch, I'm gonna fucking make a success of myself. I'm gonna fucking prove to you that I'm fucking somebody. And then when I saw
her, where is Beyonce now, mate? Yeah,
exactly. Where is she? Have you seen how ugly her husband?
Destiny's Child last night.
Do you know what I mean? They're not even together. Not even together.
Come back to
and she's had a couple kids. Do you know what I mean? So it's a weird anticlimax. So I was just kind of fine, because like the biggest part of it, and I guess the biggest lesson from that failure was.
Sorry, before you get onto that, and so talk me more about that actual meeting though. Like when before you
I was literally just sitting down in a members club. She came in,
whatever.
Just
doing our do.
Yeah, doing what I do. Just chilling. Yeah, just chilling. Tracks
and she was working at the members club.
And I'm like, my tea is. Oh, it's you.
I knew she was, and that's why I joined.
Yeah.
Just to rub it in her face.
I'm completely over it. I'm fine.
Checked her shift schedule, and I was there because I don't care. That's why. So she spotted you.
Yeah, so she spotted me. So came up and was like, this is weirdly awkward and nice to see you again after all these years. And she was just like, congratulations on all your success. And I really thought I always fantasized with someone. I'd be like, exactly.
The classic
just say nothing, and just stare it out.
But really, it was just like, for me, it was good to just be in that place where like the biggest thing I'd learned from that relationship was to, that you help, and my advice to anybody when it comes to like affairs of the heart is always observe self-love, because it's self-perpetuating. You set a standard for yourself, and then that's how you'll know what you're prepared to part with, what you'll accept and what you won't accept, and then you're able to set a precedent for how you want your relationship to go. So for me, it was kind of like when we'd broken up, like, and with a lot of comedians, when you first start doing open mic and stuff, like there's a large population of the comedian demographic who have recent divorcees or breaking up with somebody,
or just never had a girlfriend.
Well, never had a girlfriend, and have now found they get a lot of their evenings are very free.
Yeah.
So it's a great way of socializing outside of the normal paradigms of like school or like work and stuff. And so for me, it was kind of like I was like, now that I have all this time free and I'm not in a way living for somebody else, then why don't I do something I want to do? And so it was one of the catalysts for me to get into comedy. Yeah. So knowing that I now have something that is my own and been self-sustaining and is the manifestation of something I love, it was like knowing I have that now. When I saw her again, I was just like, I actually can genuinely say I hope you are happy with everything you have and where your life has gone, and she's married and she has kids, and I wish the best for her, because what I have now is like, this is something that no one can take away from me. So it was just like, I was just like, I really thought I'd have something to say to you about how you were to me, but it's like, in the grand scheme of things, compared to everything I have now, whatever you did to offend me doesn't really.
It must have been quite a relief, because I suppose after the relationship you probably spent a good 2 years just being in your room like,
oh god, yeah. It makes. I mean, fucking hell, heartbreak does make a man of you as well, man. It really does. I think it's important for every man to go through and acknowledge, or everyone who I guess emphasizes the masculine. So right. So because obviously we're aware that some people are non-binary or gender fluid. So, but so far as the masculine, where like obviously there's a social pressure to like get over it and man up and deal with that stuff. But I think it's important for men to experience a type of trauma where it doesn't matter how much weight you lift or how big your gun is. Like, you cannot defend yourself from this. Your parents can't help you with this.
Nothing.
Nobody
it's a vulnerability.
So it's a vulnerability that nobody can train you how to deal with. And then when you first experience heartbreak, people are like, you get over it, and you think, how the fuck can you say that to me? You don't realize that every day is an abyss. Right? I hope I'll never wake up. But it's true. It's just that no one can really articulate the process which you go through to get over it. But like, and everyone has an experience of it, and then you start trying to compare your heartbreak and your trauma with other people's and stuff. And I got loads of good advice from friends and stuff, because some people are like, you were together for 3 years and it seems like the most important thing in your life. Some people build a life of like 20 years and then get divorced, and they would have invested even more. They have children and they have a home, and sometimes that happens. So but it's all relative. But I was just like, it was it was a good thing. But the main thing about it was just that I was able to have that quantum of solace where I'm like, you are no longer able to live for somebody else. Like, what about living your life for yourself and see where that takes you. And then obviously,
and it's impressive you've got to a position now where you can use quantum of solace in a sentence,
Yeah.
and not be referring to the James Bond film.
Exactly,
And
yeah,
then
right?
you want to say how successful one man is. That is a perfect
exactly.
example.
Yeah, I don't have time to read up and shit.
But you got to spend. You do have to spend a lot of time on your own. Like,
have-
you
yeah, you
spend
have
a
to,
lot of time doing solitary things.
You do.
That's what I'm trying to
Some
get.
people don't, but some people don't.
Yeah.
I mean, some people find other ways to kind of fill that hole. Whether it's like you can be like trying to have other relationships, and some people make the mistake of like they get dating again and like I can't find anybody out there. It's fucking terrible. I give up. And it's not that. It's just that you should realize that obviously there was a lot more deeper and profound in that relationship. That's why it lasted so long. It became a long-term relationship, and you shouldn't try and find that meaning in every single interaction you have with every other person, whether it's romantically or whatever.
Basically, go down the park, feed some pigeons. You know, do
Yeah,
some Zabreska
just take some time for yourself, man. And
I'm trying to do all that now before the relationship.
exactly.
so
Get
I've
Get
got it in
yourself
the
out there,
bank.
Ali. Go watch some rain, and you know, just like do some
Yeah, 'cause
solitary.
I've
acts.
I've never had a long-term relationship. Longest relationship I've had was 3 months. So
Okay.
I'm still awaiting that.
You got that to come.
Yeah.
You
So
got to come, but at the same
That's
time,
good.
it's like, you know, but then there may be other instances of heartbreak or trauma that you deal with that is the equivalent. So, for example, I look at some of my friends where, like, I had a friend where he lost his brother when he was a teenager, and his brother, they were very close, and his brother passed away. And then, so then I remember by the time I'm breaking up and going through all this shit, like he's getting married and stuff, and I'm like, how come I keep fucking this stuff up? And my friends are getting married, but then it's like, you know, even though it's the happiest days of his life, the person that he loves more than anybody can't be there to see it. So it's like, you know, and my friend is a great person and is very successful, but at the same time, you know, I know there's probably a part of him because he doesn't even talk about it. But I didn't even find out about his brother until like years. We were friends for years before I found out. But it's like, you know, I'm sure like he's got a great family and deserving of all of his blessings. But you know, I'm sure, you know, like I said, in his time, it's like I'd give this up for a day with my brother. So you know, it's so. But at the same, like I said, it's. I think it's a great thing to, and the most important thing about observing heartbreak here is because obviously then you appreciate love so much more and realize in all of its forms, whether it is romantic or it's platonic between your friends, and because that was a great part. Like I took that time, like my grandmother came over from Grenada, so I spent time with her, reacquainting myself with different family members and stuff, and so it was just that whole process of healing. It was so important, and I guess and also I learned, you know, that. You know, you hear about women having their heart broken on a regular basis. So then you start respecting the emotional intelligence and strength that women have, because like a lot of guys are like, one woman fucked with me, I don't care, I'm gonna fuck every girl I can because this girl did, like,
that's a really good impression of Tom.
Yeah. So I studied him for a while. So but it's like, you know, again, you respect women a lot more because they deal with that.
But that's also
basis.
the male reflex, isn't it? To be like, I'm gonna win this by numbers
to
or
wall up
by
on numbers. Yeah, exactly.
some sort of sex,
or alpha dominance. But you know, women rationalize this stuff and these traumas, I think, a lot more efficiently than men tend to do, and they fucking get the strength to go and enter in these things again. So, like, yeah, I learned a lot more about it. But yeah, just the most important thing was just to know that, like, if you are gonna concede, you should, like, it was conceding, you know, that love is a power and it's something that is bigger than myself, and it was able to cripple and humble me very easily. And by that token, I should be vain enough to think I can wield something like love, and that's why they say stupid cliche shit like it's better to love than to lost, because this power, like, you should just be happy to be able to wield it rather than try and control it, because like I said, the idea of love involves another party, so you can't hope to control it. If you really love somebody, you shouldn't try and control them. So
you just got to hope. You just got to ride it and hope it doesn't crash. Like,
but by the same token, you have to understand at some point, you know, somebody you love won't be around forever because we're all going to die. So, like I said, it's an experience and one of the best ones we can have on this planet. So when you get the opportunity, just ride it till the wheels fall off, man, and try not to be resentful if you lose it, because there's always going to be love in one form or another. Because like I said, the one that exists isn't just romantic, like you have your friends or your family and stuff, or like I said, with your work, if you love something, and whether it's like you're creating something, you love comedy, then yeah, treat it in a way that you love it, because that's something that, at least with that, no one can take that shit away from you. Which is why, like I said, learning about like losing something love, because I was like, how could I fuck up something that I cared for so much? Whereas now, because I look at comedy now, that's why I can say to you, like, I could appreciate that global success, but when that goes and people don't know who I am, I'll still be happy that I was able to do something with my life that I actually wanted. So yeah,
I feel like some people will find it in other places other than comedy. Don't do comedy. Like I know a lot of guys who honestly, I know guys who's like, you know, like I love Liverpool more than anything in the world because Liverpool will always be there. You know, you know, Liverpool's never going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere, and it probably represents a lot of things. Like it represents, you know, it's nostalgic. It's probably a certain part of childhood that you know it helps them with.
It's familiar as well. Football,
it's familiar.
It gets passed
It's
down,
camaraderie and stuff. Like you know, so stuff that you can transcend. So. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and that's another thing as well. That some people might hear that about somebody saying, "I love a football team." You think, ugh.
Yeah.
But for me now, it's like if someone says they love something, they care for it, and they're not, and their love of something doesn't harm anybody else, then I've made it like a point of principle because like, it happened so late for me to approach that in a very mature way. And I think like given my background and stuff, then like there are a lot of maybe social platitudes which may have made me more adverse to discussing something like gender identity, like. Before, but now I'm just like, look, as long as you're someone who has love within yourself and you love other people, then you could be whoever the fuck you want
and love whoever you want
and love exactly, and love whoever the fuck you want, because nobody who has experienced the loss of love would deliberately get themselves in a situation that would lead to experiencing hatred. So if someone says I love another man or I love someone who's trans, then who the fuck are you to tell anybody who they love? So yeah, I think it was a failure. I thought it was a failure for it to work, but I guess with the failure, the lesson was that, like, just to respect love a lot more. So,
fair.
So that was the short one.
Yeah,
that was the short one. Let's get into this big one now.
Let's get into something a bit more meaty.
So the big one.
So we've done love.
Yeah, my biggest failure, and I continue to do this is letting stuff go, because that was the biggest part. Like, I'm somebody like, and the background is I grew up in Lewisham in South East London. Grew up in like. So like late 90s to like early 90s when I obviously became more aware of like, I guess, street culture and gangs and stuff like that. Yeah. And like I said, you grow up in Lewisham especially, it's an environment whereby like literally you can be stabbed over stepping on somebody's shoe. Yeah. So that environment kind of teaches you like I'm very adverse to getting into conflict without provocation because I know what it can lead to. And I like literally I have seen people being like, where do you live? And pull out a gun. Yeah, and stuff, or people just like, hey, dude, a complete stranger, like to him it's a toy, like, oh, bro, look at this, and just pulling out guns and stuff. Obviously, so and my experience compared to a lot of my peers is like a vanilla one. Yeah, like,
it's weird how things escalate. So we both got up an archway. It's like obviously nowhere near as Lewisham, but you know, it's like people get stabbed like over the dumbest things. Over the dumbest things. My friend's got a scar down his face over the stupidest, like dumbest little things.
I was like 17. Nothing. So in terms of like this whole humanity thing, like even though I know it can sometimes come across as a bit trite when I'm like, oh no, I don't really get excited about things. It's because literally when I was 17 years old, I had a friend who girls thought he was attractive. He liked a girl, another guy liked a girl, so the guy cut his face open because he was too pretty. So this is why I'm just like, I never like to be boastful about stuff because people will kill you over that shit. Like, so literally will kill you over the stuff, rob you over stuff like that. So I always try, because it's just the culture I grew up in.
But isn't it weird that kids now, you know, die to flex on Instagram and show off everything that they have? Like, that's a bit of a weird, like, it's a crazy thing. Surely kids must be getting robbed all the time if they were, you know.
Well, that's what I think is crazy. But for me, it's even like, you go to central London and you'll see like somewhere like Supreme and kids are queuing up to buy like £200 jumpers. When I was a kid, if there was a queue outside a shop and people buying £200 jumpers, as soon as you leave, you're getting robbed. Like when I was a kid, if you were walking around with £150 headphones, they're coming off your head.
But London has been sterilised for better or for worse. I mean, that's the other side of it. Like that sort of street crime, that sort of like kind of just aggressive crime has, I feel, been diluted.
Oh, massively. Well, in some ways diluted, and in some ways, I guess because of gentrification, it's very concentrated upon itself. So what I've noticed is that historically, where they had larger like areas, geographical areas that were opposed to each other, it's now within those areas, smaller splinter gangs are now against each other. So it's just.
And also maybe like the avocation of like so many phones and people filming, I don't know, might have been more people.
Yeah, because when you're growing up, if you had a phone,
you're getting robbed. I got robbed so many times. Both of us, we both just like robbed.
I was lucky because I just didn't have anything to steal. So no one's gonna be like, oh, bro, give me them golas. Come off them high tech. So my parents
like, give me your phone, you show it. Now you're right.
Basically, it's like, bro, take this number for like child services. So
get home safe.
Exactly. Let me give you some bus fare.
Everyone got yourself. There are bad people on this. Bad people on this.
That poor gay man. So it's So I was lucky in that respect. But I say that because it's like dealing. In comedy, like where I've dealt with some more difficult personalities, or just because of that, I just think when I see people being rude and stuff for no reason, or people that are rude to me with no provocation whatsoever, I'm like, fuck you. Fully.
But do you not make a list? I feel like coming up.
I
like,
do.
I'm making a.
Oh
like,
God,
you make
vendetta is
a
my
list
thing,
and
yeah,
you just sit on that, and then you just think like, you know, there'll be a time 10 years down the line.
Oh yeah, me.
And you'll be trapped in a lift, and the lights will be going out, and I won't help you. I'll just walk on by.
What's that for though? Like what? I'm not
the
like
list.
this. I used to be I used to be more. I certainly used to be more competitive than I am. Like I'm in competition with myself now. I feel like I've put that in myself to achieve potential. Whereas I used to be like, I need to be better than you.
Yeah.
But so you have these lists, right? But then what?
Oh, my list, but I agree with you in terms of like compete with yourself. But this list is just that this person tried to beef with me for no reason, and I just.
It's only if you're really wronged.
Yeah,
like, I'm only. Like, if someone's really gone out of the way to do something really terrible, I'm just go like, okay, I'm not gonna kick off now. Like,
you're nice to me. Like I'm somebody. If you've said something rude to me and we don't really talk and there's no reason to be rude to me, I won't forget that shit.
So you're clearly a very intelligent man, very introspective man. Yet, you can't let that go. So
I mean,
that's but what is the reason for that? I mean, you said about growing up in Lewisham.
I think it's like you said, it stems from somewhere where I think I've had something to prove and stuff as well. Yeah. But also, I think it's just because I'm just so resentful of that arrogance that why would you be belligerent to somebody you don't even know who that person is? Yeah. And life is so fleeting whereby like people experience trauma or pain or violence over such trivial things. Why would you go out your way to be rude to somebody? Like when you come at somebody like, oh fuck you, you're a prick. It's like I know people get killed over that shit. So so for me it's just like I don't know. It's just a weird thing where I guess it's like I'm resentful of the privilege. Like where are you from? Where you can talk to somebody like that and you think you're going to be okay?
Yeah.
I just find my head hard to get my head around it. Or I'm just like, why would you speak to somebody like that for no reason? Like I'm serious. Like I got dinner ladies that I still got beef with from primary school. Where I'm like, the day that bitch dies, I will buy a new pair of tap shoes for that whore's grave.
What did they do? Not give you the Twizzlers? What happened?
No, it'd be something like. I remember a story. I went to school with a kid called Philip Underhill. And me and Philip were like, we're on our friends. He was fine, on our friends. Like he had come from a foster home and stuff. So we're on our friends. So I guess we had somewhat of a rebellious streak together. But sometimes we would like roughhouse and get out of control. And I remember once where we both got in trouble. And there was just like one period when I was like in year 6 where I pretty much spent every other day in detention during dinner time. Now, when you're an 11-year-old, having to spend your dinner time in a hall is basically the same as being in solitary. So I'm always in the hole. And once, that's how I see it as a kid. I'm like, they're depriving me of my freedoms. So
Dane's throwing the tennis ball against the wall.
Tennis ball, they give me some.
There's another kid just like sweating, shivering in the corner.
See, that's means it's only me. I'm always in the hall by myself. Right. And the thing is, I think some argument over some shit in the dinner hall. We both get in trouble. So we both go to like the head of the dinner ladies, whatever. And her name's Miss Laney. And she's like, I never fucking forget. I don't forget. I will not fucking forget. And Philip's claim was, his claim was, I was eating salad, threw lettuce in the air, and it landed on his head, which,
I mean, that's very
dubious. Anyway, it's very dubious.
I've got some questions.
Right? Anybody would have fucking questions. There's so much in terms of forensics. So I'm like, that couldn't possibly have happened.
And physics,
and physics is like that couldn't have possibly happened. So I'm, like I said, saying it to you guys, it's obviously clear that couldn't happen. But very, very, very clearly, I built up a criminal profile amongst these dinner ladies. So she's like, well, why did you do that, Dane? I'm like, how could that have happened, Miss Laney? How? Well, what were you eating? Salad. Well, that's how it could have happened. You really think I threw lettuce in the air and he waited in for this trajectory to land on his head? That's what happened. It's like, yeah, but you're always roughhousing. And then the thing is, in my school, there was this thing was, if someone hits you or aggresses you, you come and tell the teacher.
Right.
This is what I was getting at school. Whereas at home, my mum was like, if someone hits you, you hit them back so they know not to hit you again.
Right.
Now, the thing is, also, being the kind of kid that I was, which I imagine you guys know what I'm like, is I'm looking at like civil, like just common law, whereby there are clause like, as a reasonable man, you are entitled by law to defend yourself within a certain level of degree. As long as you don't use excessive force, in normal law, if someone attacks you, you're able to, you are legally allowed to defend yourself. I'm doing karate on that basis. If you are attacked, you can defend yourself. So I'm like, anytime I'm attacked, I'm going to defend myself. They're like, you should come and tell the teacher. So I'm saying to them, in theory, I understand that you want to be delegated to organize stuff, but if I get attacked or someone's hitting me, I do not have the time between an adrenaline release or evading my aggressor to come and tell you. Also, if I'm having the shit beaten out of me,
love the idea.
I can't really walk to a teacher and be like beating you up.
Invading my aggressor.
Yeah, exactly. Which
I love it. I love it.
Which I know sounds crazy, but at the same time, it's like that's like, you know, if you were the
I love an
if you was-
11-year-old version of
No, but this is exactly what I'm saying.
I can't stress enough. This is not a bit. This is not Dane having.
No,
This is
me.
into
This is
this
exactly
story.
me. I'm
evading aggressors.
I'm just saying, practically speaking, if someone's hitting you, like, you can't be just, I'm going to walk to the teacher while you're still getting the shit kicked out of you. Like, why would you expect that to be anyone's human response? And they're just like, you got to come and tell the teacher. I'm like, I'm going to have time to tell the teacher. Like, you can't pretend that's going to be someone's immediate response. Like, if someone attacks me, I have to defend myself. And they're not trying to hear it. So then, you know, they're like, well, you got to sit in the hall again. So all right, Miss Laney.
Miss Laney, yeah.
This is fucking bullshit. And then Miss Harris is another teacher. And Miss Harris's sister lives across the road from me. Nicest woman ever. Miss Harris is a fucking... I'm 90% sure that Miss Harris sucked Adolf Hitler's dick. Like, and that's how evil she is. And she definitely sucked his dick.
Yeah.
She sucked his dick. She
Shout
slashed
out
him
Miss
tits.
Harris.
Like you know, like the early rallies when he was still being supported by like Daily Mail and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he might have done like a campaign over here, and he sucked his dick or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
She must have
that's
done.
it.
She was like a runner at the
Back
time.
in the Disney days.
Yeah,
exactly,
She was
yeah.
interning at the Mail, and she sucked his dick.
And no
Like,
regrets at all.
Oh
Like,
no, none at all. She's like, you know, he was driven.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah,
that's how- that's
He-
how-
at least
that's
he
how-
had a plan.
Yeah,
At
she had a
least
plan.
he knew
Yeah,
what was going
yeah,
on.
he knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Exactly, you know.
That's very dark.
All he wanted was a Reich. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
you know.
Exactly, yeah.
She was that
He
kind of
wanted
person.
it and he went and got it.
Yeah, he went and got it,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I
Yeah,
respect power.
exactly. Yeah.
And
So
ambition.
So you and her obviously got on a storm then?
Yeah. So we got on the storm, but yeah, Miss Harris is a horrible woman, and is this Miss Lady got cancer? And funny thing is, when I went, my mother.
Well, there's a happy ending
No,
for
no.
everyone.
Thank you.
I
That's
said
all I
it-
could say.
Cheers.
My
Carry on,
mother had it at the same time, so I went to see my mother in Blackheath Hospital. She's fine now, but she went to the hospital, and then she was in the door, and I was like, "Why is that Miss Laney?" And Mum was like, "Yeah, she's sick," and blah 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 blah. And I was like, And then I didn't wish cancer on Miss Laney. We didn't get on, but I didn't go that far. Miss Harris, however, listen, yeah. 1 in 3 people will develop one form of cancer at some point in their lives. So irrespective of what I say, it doesn't make a difference. Also, it's cheaper than hiring a hitman to wish somebody had cancer.
Can't argue with that.
If you met her, you'd know what I mean. And yeah, so like I said, I was like, from the ages of like, let's say 8 to 11, and I'm in my mid-30s now, and I'm still waiting for this bitch to die.
Miss Harris
Okay.
and Miss
So-
Laney,
so-
both.
So that was the beginning of the list. That was
she's up there.
The early days of the list. Now you don't have to share, but is there anyone who, throughout your comedy career, obviously don't like who's really
there's a
like,
few people
wronged you
Yeah,
in
there is, yeah.
serious ways?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
There's people on my list which I've been told I should divulge now. But
Yeah.
definitely. And the thing is, but at the same time, it was like before. But even then, it was like at first I was like, don't worry, we're gonna meet again.
Yeah.
Put on the voice as well.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
Clint
meet.
Eastwood
Yeah, we'll
style,
meet
yeah,
again.
yeah.
I'll see you
Yeah,
later.
I'll see you
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
But I think, I've learned even then the most effect, and even like fake friends and stuff, and like, and I've been like, don't worry, I'll see you again. But
what do you hope to get? How do you win?
See, it's the
How
thing.
do you win?
How
Surely
do you win?
the,
Yeah, exactly.
Surely the
And that's
letting go is the
exactly.
winning.
The
Okay.
letting go is the winning. So that's
But
been
you
my
know
failure
that
for a
and
long
you
time.
don't do it.
I know, because something will happen, and I'll be like, and I think, and maybe it's a comedian thing where we all have that point where, or any artist, the part of our complex is that we have that like enormous kind of belief in ourselves and that vanity, and then it's that kind of like crippling self-doubt.
Yeah,
And
I think Adam
when
has
I'm-
put it as like comedians think 95% I'm a piece of shit, but then 5% maybe I am the Messiah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the-
So sometimes I think when I'm in that 95% spiral, I'm like, yeah, I do feel bad. And you know why I feel bad? Because it all started when I was 11. Miss Harris, and then this motherfucker, and that motherfucker. And one day I'm going to get myself an M16 like in
So that
Scarface.
motivates. It's a motivational
exactly.
tool.
So yeah, I think I use it as a motivational tool. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking bury these cockroaches, each and every one of them. Then they're going to see. And then I just keep having this fantasy of like, do you remember in like the baptism scene at the end of The Godfather? Like, do you and I'm like, yes, I renounce Satan. And then someone's like, Miss Harris is like, everybody line up.
I will renounce them.
Yeah, exactly. I renounce them.
yeah.
We'll have to remove both of your legs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So motivational. Okay.
So yeah, so part of it's motivational, but like I said, it just comes from the fact that I just have this real resentment of people that are just so detached. Whereby I'm just like, you know, I mean, anyone who reads the news, you hear stories of senseless acts of violence and criminality all the time, where it's like, how did this happen to this person or this person, and like this person didn't deserve that. And I just think we're well aware that like tragedy can befall anybody. There's no formula to it. So why you would invite negativity, I just get very, very pissed off.
It's interesting as well with the there's interesting as well with people being a dick or being rude to you, because there's no reason for them to do it, because there's people, I always thought, is it a power thing? Is it because they've got up there? But there's people who are in higher positions than them who are nice.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's nothing.
I completely agree with that.
You don't have
use
to.
that as an excuse. I'm very busy, or I've got a lot.
And that's what it is.
And you meet people who are like CEOs, and they're just like, oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
exactly. So like going back to my friend, like I said, I was talking about before, where his brother and stuff. Like again, that would be arguably a reason for him to have a chip on his shoulder. Never been like that, and like I said, someone like that and having good people around me is help, because it's like it goes to show you don't have to be a dick, you don't have to disregard people to realize a level of success. And I could actually also say from my experience in comedy that all the very successful people I've worked with have all been nice. No one's been insecure. No one's been like kind of had punched down or.
It's just that middle section who haven't quite made it yet.
And that repeats like on a social level, whereby like most very, very rich and very wealthy people, they don't give a shit about me because I don't affect their lives or whatever. It's usually people that are in that mid-level who know they're close enough to our level on a financial basis, but can't be a part of that ruling class, that have the most resentment there because they're in that kind of limbo. Yeah. So it's like, I've met like billionaires and they've said like the Blairs, for example, Tony and Sherry Blair, like they're pieces of shit because they're millionaires that want to be billionaires. So they have a very horrible attitude, whereas very, very rich people, because, poor people don't really affect their lives. They don't even have to interact with it. And it's even like when I used to work in an office, it's like all the people in control, like CEOs, company directors and stuff, they're all very friendly, because probably there's a part of them that realizes that they're never going to have to compete with you for power in this corporation. Yeah. Whereas it's people who the bone of like middle management is thrown to, who all overcompensate and try and impose their will on everybody. And like I said, and that repeats on every single thing, whereby, even in society, the ruling class, like, they don't give a shit because their power is not really going to be challenged. It's this middle ground of like, your pedagogues and like, your mouthpieces, like your pundits and like even your police to an extent, whereby, you feel the need that you have to enforce, because there's a difference between legality and lawfulness, in that, when you're in the police, we all give over our power to the institution of law enforcement because they're supposed to be upholding justice. But then, 40 years ago, gay marriage was illegal. Yeah. So, but we know, I think we know now that has no bearing on anyone else, doesn't hurt anybody, it actually helps people. But policemen would have enforced this ideal without any question. So, should we be putting them on this moral pedestal where they dispense justice under, at our behest? So
at the end of the pod, I'll give. This has come up before the gay marriage debate, and people will talk about it at the end. But right, guys, this has been amazing. Thank you very much, Dane, for coming down, man. It was an absolute treat for us.
Thank you so much for coming on, Dane.
No, really appreciate it, man. It's been very fun, man.
Is there anything you want to plug?
I'm doing a work in progress on Wednesday at the I want to say the Water Poet.
What about in King's Cross?
Oh,
yeah.
with
No, King Water Poet is in
East London.
City Comedy.
Yeah, Liverpool Street. Yeah, so I'm doing a work in
yeah.
progress there, so I'll be going for some new material there. And then for any other info, danebaptiste.co.uk, and I'm on all your good socials. So
and you got your own podcast as well?
And I have my own podcast, is Dane Baptiste Questions Everything. Love to have you guys on it as well. And and also Quote Us Four is my other podcast, which with the homeboy Mooch, which we do as well in the same studio.
Nice.
So look out for that. And in the meantime, love each other, and thanks again for having me.
Oh, no worries. All right, cheers. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much. I still got tickets available for my 3rd of March show at Vault Festival, work in progress again. Please buy them because that is looking very empty. So
walk-ups, man. We'll be fine, Ali, man. Walk-ups. They're going to be there, bro.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, Dane.
No problem.
You're coming?
Yeah,
I believe if I'm free, I'll come. If I'm free, I'll come. I believe in you.
Busy.
I believe in you.
What was it, 3rd of? No. This year, 2020.
This third?
Oh, man. Oh, it's about 2021.
Yeah, my
that's when I'm really free.
Chock-a-block next 2 years.
Come back to me, man. All right, guys. It's been amazing. You can follow us at ADIFPod.
Instagram, Twitter. We always let's hear your fails. Send in something that's stupid that you've done, and we'll read it out.
Yeah, we'd like to do that. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.